Welcome to Suhail's Paramedical and Nursing Academy. In the today's part, actually I have recorded this video before, but due to some technical error, after at the last the video lost. So now I will explain this tumor. Actually, the today's topic is about the tumor. The tumor is also called as neoplasm. The formation of new growth is called as neoplasia. So this topic is very important in case of pathology. This topic is very important in case of medical surgical nursing. Remember the word, the formation of new growth. The new growth is the new growth formation. The new growth formation. The new growth formation is called as neoplasia. Is called as neoplasia. So the neoplasia is the formation of new growth, but the new growth which is formed is called a neoplasm. The new growth which is formed is called a tumor, but the new growth formation is called as neoplasia. So remember the difference between neoplasia and neoplasm. That neoplasm is also called as tumor. So now I will explain about what is this new growth, what is the actual definition of tumor or neoplasm. So the actual definition you can write that tumor or neoplasm is a neoplasm, you can write the definition with me. Neoplasm is an abnormal growth. Then I will explain later. First you write the definition, I will explain later. It is an abnormal growth which is uncoordinated. The abnormal growth which is uncoordinated with normal growth of tissue. Normal growth of tissue. Even after the stimuli, the external stimuli, even after the external stimuli is removed. Okay? Even after the external stimuli is removed. This is called as neoplasm. Okay, so this is the definition you can read. So neoplasm, what is actually the neoplasm? So there is an uncontrolled excessive division. There is an excessive growth. Okay, you can write here there is an excessive growth. Now I will explain what is actually the abnormal, what is actually this, all the things I will summarize. See actually what is the definition. Don't see towards the definition, just remember what I will say. So neoplasm or the tumor, it is what is actually the neoplasm or tumor? The neoplasm or tumor is an abnormal growth. So what is abnormal? So normally the human cell divides after 24 hours. The average cell division time, the average cell cycle time is 24 hours in a human normal cell. Average I am saying. There are some cells, suppose which are present in the brain, which are present in the heart. They don't divide. They will show the growth, but not by means of division, but they will show growth by means of increase in the cell size. Remember, growth can be measured by two ways. One is increase in the cell size, another is increase in the cell division. So here I am talking about the cell division. I am talking about the abnormal growth. The abnormal growth means the cell will divide. Cell will divide very fastly. The cells will divide very fastly. When they divide very fastly, remember, there will be very fast replication. There will be very fast transcription and translation. So there will be no any coordination. The cells will not show any kind of coordination with the other cells, other normal cells. Cells will grow uncoordinately. So they will not show coordination with the normal cells. Why this happens? Because there is a lack of cell inhibition, lack of contact inhibition. That is called a lack of contact inhibition. What is lack of contact inhibition? Contact inhibition actually means the contact. There is a special contact between the cells. There is a special mechanism that coordinates the process, that coordinates the cell division of the many cells. So when the cell divides, it will it will trigger a chemical response to the other cell also to divide. So there is a coordination. But here in case of tumor, there is no any kind of coordination. There is lack of contact inhibition. There is no contact between the cells. When there is no contact between the cells grow excessively. When cells grow excessively, cells are uncontrolled in the division. When the cells are uncontrolled in the division, when the cells are uncontrolled in the division, when the cells are uncontrolled in the division, what happens that even I wrote here cells are excessively. So cells divide. See what this is the normal cell. Okay, the cell it will divide in 24 hours normally in the average in an average time in our body. But here there will be cell division very quickly. Very quickly there will be cell division. So remember one more thing. There are very high chances of the mutation in these cells which fast very quickly because the transcription, the translation, the transcription, the replication, the transcription, the translation that occurs in the cells will be also very fast. Okay, so whenever any process is very fast, that means there are very high chance of error. When there are very high chance of error, there are high chance of mutation in those cells. But I will not go to that side. I will say these cells divide very uncontrollably. So there is uncontrolled division, and these cells, this is the abnormal growth. There is very high hyperplasia and hypertrophy. Hypertrophy means the cells will be increasing very high, and hyperplasia means there will be increased cell. Sorry, the hypertrophy means the cells will increase in the size. The cell size will increase, and hyperplasia means the cell number will increase. So both hypertrophy and hyperplasia is very fast in case of these tumor, in case of tumor or neoplasia. This is so when the tumor is removed, actually there are carcinogens. There are carcinogens which are responsible for the tumor, or this tumor may be genetic also. There may be any genetic cause also, but there may be any external cause also. So if this external stimuli is removed, even after there will be growth will be continuous there. So that is why it is called as stimulus is removed, still there will be uncontrolled growth, uncoordinated growth, excessive growth. This is called as neoplasia, this is called as neoplasm. So you understood. So the tumor is an abnormal growth. Why it is an abnormal growth actually? Because cells lost their what? A cooperation. Because in body cells have cooperation each other during division, but these cells lost the cooperation with other cells. They have shown the division excessively, uncoordinatedly. They don't fear about other cells, but how we have to divide. They don't follow the rule of DNA. They don't follow the rule of DNA. Because in the DNA there was a protein, there was a gene, that is P53 gene. That P53 gene transcribes into the what? P53 protein. Okay, so during the translation there will be formation of P53 protein from P53 gene. That P53 protein coordinates whether the cell growth is going to be a normal or not, whether in the cell the DNA replication, the transcription, that those processes are going normal or not. But that is why it is seen that in case of cancer cells, I will tell later, in case of cancer cells, that P53 protein is seen to be mutated. Okay, so now I will tell about this was the definition. Now there are two tumors. There are two types of tumors. You can take the screenshot of this. Okay, there are two types of tumors. One is called as benign tumor, another is called as malignant tumor. So I will explain these two as in the form of difference. Okay, see, this is called as benign tumor. Another is called as malignant tumor. I am trying to concise this topic very easily, otherwise in the books there is a lot of content. What actually I am going to say, what is actually the benign tumor? So benign tumor, the definition of benign tumor, remember, benign tumor is also a tumor. It is also an abnormal growth. What is the difference now? The difference is that the benign tumor is a localized, differentiated, capsulated abnormal growth. So it is a localized, it is capsulated, abnormal growth. But here in case of malignant tumor, you will see it is non-localizer, it is non-localizer, it is not localizer, and it is not capsulated, not localizer, not capsulated, it is not capsulated, and it is undifferentiated, it is undifferentiated. Here, remember, here it was what? It was differentiated. First I will explain this point. So here the tumor will be, see, I will show here. This side I will show here, it is the tumor. This is also the tumor. Okay. So this tumor is having a boundary. It is in the capsule. It is having a boundary around it. That is why it is called as benign tumor. This is called a capsule. This covering is called a capsule. So that means it is a localized tumor. So that means this is also abnormal growth. And the cells inside it can be easily differentiated. But here you will not find any in case of any boundary. You will not find any boundary in case of malignant tumor. So cells will be like this. And there will be no any differentiation in the cells. Any differentiation in the cells. So there are different types of cells within this, and there is no any kind of what? Any kind of capsule, any kind of boundary on this cells. And one more thing, here the growth will be very fast. Here the growth will be slow. But here the growth will be fast. There will be fast growth. You can write with me. So there will be fast growth, there will be very slow growth in case of benign tumor. So here is very fast growth. One more thing, now we will tell about the treatment. This can be treated easily. But this cannot be treated easily. In most of the cases, mostly. How? Because mostly here we can treat it easily, we can remove the tumor. Because tumor is at a localized space. Tumor is present at the localized space. We can remove this tumor easily in case of benign tumor. So treatment is very effective. But here in case of malignant tumor, the tumor is wandering. I will tell that the tumor is a malignant tumor. This tumor is malignant tumor. It will show metastasis. It will show local invasion. So that means this tumor cannot be treated very easily. We will use the radiations. We will use drugs for this tumor, but the effect will be very less. Okay, so it cannot be treated mostly. Here, the death of the person does not occur. So death doesn't occur. In case of benign tumor, there is no death seen. But in case of malignant tumor, the death is seen. Remember one more point, death is not seen in case of benign tumor. But if this benign tumor is present in the blood vessels, if this benign tumor is present in the nervous system, that time it may be fatal. So that time it can cause the death of the person. But most of the cases it does not cause death of the person. Here the death is mostly confirmed. The death occurs here because the tumor is going from one body part to another body part, and the growth is very high. Remember one rule in the body: when there is very high growth, there is high requirement of nutrients, there is high requirement of oxygen. So the person who is having this tumor, who is having this malignant tumor, I will tell later, this malignant tumor can be cancer also. This malignant tumor is sometimes also called as cancer. Okay, so this malignant tumor is called also cancer because in case of cancer patients, you will see there will be mostly weight loss. Mostly. You will see there will be hair loss mostly. Why that occurs? Because all the nutrients are being taken by the cancer cells because their growth is very fast. One more point I am going to say here, that it is asymptomatic. It is asymptomatic, but here you will find this as symptomatic. You can write in notebook as per your own how you are writing symptomatic. Remember, so symptoms are not mostly found in case of benign tumor because I told you it is not so much fatal. It is not so much fatal for the body. But benign tumor is mostly, it is dangerous. So there will be symptoms also that are found in the malignant tumor. What is that? So these are the main things that I told here in case of benign tumor. Now I will tell the main point. You can take the screenshot. One more, the most important point that I am going to explain. Take the screenshot. So I will tell once more. It is localized, capsulated, abnormal growth, and it can be differentiated. It is not localized. It is not capsulated. It is undifferentiated abnormal growth. Here, its growth is very slow. Here, the growth is very fast. Here, it is asymptomatic. It is symptoms are not mostly seen. It is symptomatic. Here, the treatment is very easy. We can remove the tumor. Here, the treatment is not so easy. Okay, because why it is not so easy, I will tell later. Death does not occur in the benign tumor except if the tumor is at the nervous system or blood vessels. Death is sure most of the cases in case of malignant tumor. Why? The actual reason is now only coming. See. What is the actual reason now that I am going to explain? This point is very important. Remember, this point is very important. We all should know about this. If we understood this point, we understood the difference between benign and malignant tumor. Remember, this tumor is also called as, it is non-cancerous tumor. It is also called as non-cancerous tumor. Non-cancerous tumor. But this is called as cancerous tumor. This is called as cancerous tumor. So this is called as cancerous tumor. This is called as non-cancerous tumor. Why it is called as cancerous tumor? See here, actually this malignant tumor show two types of invasion. One is called as local invasion. Another is called as metastasis. This is the important point. Local invasion means this is the benign tumor. This is the benign tumor which is present. Suppose it may be suppose we will consider a breast cancer. This breast cancer may show local invasion. Local invasion means it can enter to the local tissues which are surrounding to that cancer. So this tumor can enter into the, suppose it can enter through ribs inside the body. It can come outside from ribs, because this in malignant tumor, the tumor can enter it can enter through ribs inside the body. So this is through local invasion by means of growth. When it grows, it will show local invasion to the surrounding tissues. These are the surrounding tissues. But this is called a local invasion. Another is metastasis. Metastasis means by means of blood. This is, suppose these are blood vessels. These are the blood vessels. It may be the blood. It may be CSF. It may be lymph. This blood, this CSF, this lymph takes these malignant tumor cells from one body part to another body part. That is called as metastasis. Remember the point. That is called a metastasis. So metastasis is a movement of tumor. Movement of which tumor? Malignant tumor. Movement of malignant tumor cells from one body part to the other body part by means of a transporting system. That transporting system may be blood, that may be lymph, that may be CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. This is called as metastasis. So when there is tumor, that is why it is called as cancerous tumor, because cancer is the one that shows metastasis. The cancer is the one that shows local invasion. Now I will tell one more. This was what is local invasion, what is metastasis. I hope you understood. Metastasis, one more I will tell. It is the movement of from this body part, this tumor part, to the other body part by means of blood, by means of CSF, by means of lymph. Okay, you can see there are some tumors which are benign tumors in the body. They go to the other body parts also. They reach to the other body parts also by means of blood, mostly by means of lymph or by means of CSF. Those tumors are called as malignant metastatic tumors. Because they show metastasis. Now I will tell one more thing, that is, you can take the screenshot. One more point I will tell in this. You can take the screenshot. Okay. So what is the one more thing? So cancerous tumor may show local. This malignant tumor can show local invasion. It can show metastasis. Because it can show local invasion, it can show metastasis. That is why it is also called as cancerous tumor. It is actually the cancer. The cancer is malignant tumor. Remember, benign tumor is not the cancer. Okay. Now I will tell one more point. That is called as, that is the nomenclature. That is the, what is the nomenclature here we are using? Nomenclature. The nomenclature is the system of naming. The naming system. The naming system. Here also will be nomenclature. What actually I mean here? I mean here that the malignant tumors will have a suffix. Will have a suffix. The suffix in case of malignant tumor will be up to, will be what? It will be either sarcoma, either carcinoma. And here the suffix in the nomenclature, the suffix here will be oma. I will tell the difference. I will tell later the examples also. If sarcoma, it is sarcoma. Remember the point, when it is called as sarcoma and when it is called as carcinoma. Sarcoma is then when it is present, when it is an epithelial, when it is an epithelial tissue origin. If the malignant tumor is epithelial tissue origin, that times we call this as sarcoma. If this is in, okay, you can see here, sorry, I have here, no, here it is wrong, here it is carcinoma. Sorry, here, remember this point, sorry, this is carcinoma. Carcinoma means if it is epithelial tissue origin. If the malignant tumor is epithelial tissue origin, that means the origin of malignant tumor is epithelial tissue. That times we call this as carcinoma. The suffix we will use carcinoma. Remember, the suffix for that malignant tumor we will use carcinoma. If it is an, we will call this as sarcoma. When if it is in the if it is mesenchymal cell origin. Okay. If it is mesenchymal cell origin, we call this as carcinoma. If it is epithelial cell origin, we call it as it is confusing. Mesenchymal cell origin, sarcoma. Epithelial cell origin, carcinoma. Now I will tell some examples. Here the examples will be mostly here. If it is present in the bone, it is osteoma. Osteo means bone, oma means benign tumor. If it is present in the cartilage, it is called as chondroma. Okay, osteoma, chondroma. There are a lot of examples in this. You can consider one more, like suppose melanoma. Melanocytes. If the benign tumor is in the it is called a melanoma. There are some melanoma is exception. Yeah, melanoma does not come here. One is called as osteoma, another is called as chondroma. These are the examples in case of here. There are fibroma, adenoma, there are fibroma. But there are some exceptions which are ending with oma, but they are malignant tumors. See here exceptions. Exceptions which are having oma, but they are malignant tumor. Remember the exceptions. Suppose hepatoma. The exception is hepatoma. The exception is hepatoma. The exception is one more. You remember lymphoma. If you want more examples, you can see in the book. Hepatoma, lymphoma are the exceptions in case of benign tumor. Here I told carcinoma, I told sarcoma. Suppose here it can be fibrosarcoma, myosarcoma, fibrosarcoma. There are some examples like fibrosarcoma, like myosarcoma, like osteosarcoma. Lot of examples are there. You can write osteosarcoma. You can see in the book also osteosarcoma, fibrosarcoma, myosarcoma. These are the examples that comes in the malignant tumor. And there are benign tumors. The examples are osteoma, chondroma, adenoma, fibroma. The exception is here hepatoma. The exception is lymphoma. The exception is here, I already told here, melanoma. Melanoma, hepatoma, lymphoma are the exceptions. So this is the suffix. That suffix here ends with the oma. The suffix here either ends with the carcinoma, either ends with the sarcoma. I hope you understood what I am saying. Okay, this was the difference between malignant and benign tumor. Okay, so then in the next lecture I will tell about the causes of cancer. What are the different causes of this cancer? Okay, that I will tell in the next lesson. And how we can treat that, what are the treatment for that, like that, I will tell in the ongoing lecture. Thank you.